Hello guys. So in this session we are going to learn read file content from S3 bucket using Boto 3. Okay. So in this session we are going to learn how to read file content from S3 bucket using Boto 3. So let's start. So first of all, we need to understand the prerequisites. So first of all, we need a AWS account, and in this account, ensure you have a AWS account before starting these tutorials. So as you can see here, this is my AWS account, and I have successfully launched instance with the name Python, as you can see. Then the next prerequisite is AWS CLI. Okay, you need to set up AWS CLI on a local machine to access AWS services. Okay, so here as you can see, I have successfully launched my instance and I have successfully connected to my instance. You can see, welcome to Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. Okay, now let's start to start to understand the read file content from S3 bucket using Boto 3. So before start, first of all, we need to understand what is AWS S3 bucket. So an AWS S3 bucket is a cloud storage container provided by Amazon Web Services, that means AWS, and to store and retrieve data objects such as files, images, videos, and databases. So example, suppose you have an S3 bucket name like my example, and we'll store various files such as images, documents, and backups, right? Then after that, the next is what is Boto 3 in Python. Okay, so Boto 3 is a Python library that serves as an official AWS SDK, that means software development kit for Python. So it provides developers with an easy to use interface to interact with the various AWS services directly from their Python code. For example, if you want to create an S3 bucket, upload a file to it or perform any other AWS operations, so you can do so using Boto 3. Okay, so the library abstract the complexities of AWS API calls and provides Pythonic method and objects to manage AWS resource seamlessly. Okay, so that's the Boto 3 as well as that AWS S3 bucket. Okay. Now let's start to read file content from bucket using Boto 3. So first of all, here as you can see, this is my AWS S3 bucket. You can see, right? If I refresh my page, as you can see, you don't have any buckets. Okay, that means in this region, I don't have any buckets as of now. My region is Asia Pacific Mumbai AP South 1. As of now, there is no any bucket in this region. You can see. Okay, there is empty. Now let's create a bucket using Python code. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, we need to update package on this Ubuntu. So as you can see the update package command. So we need to update the package using following commands sudo apt update. So here as you can see, I have already connected to my instance. And now let's update the package. Okay, it's done. Now let's clear the screen. Then after that, the next is let's install Python 3 on Ubuntu. So Python 3 comes pre-installed on Ubuntu. So installing Python on Ubuntu is straightforward process. Okay. So let's use below command to install Python 3. So the command is sudo apt install Python 3. Okay, it's installed. Then after that, if you want to check the details of about Python, then you can simply enter command Python 3 version. Okay. Then now the next is let's install Boto 3 on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. Okay. So let's install Boto 3 using pip. So the command is sudo apt install python 3 pip. So yes, I want to install. So as you can see, it's installing. So it takes few seconds. So as you can see, it's almost done. Okay, it's done. Now let's clear screen. Then the next is let's install Python 3 Boto 3. Okay. So yes. Okay, it's also done. So we have successfully installed Python 3 PIP and after that Python 3 Boto 3. Okay, it's done. Now if you want to check the installation, verify installation, you can check the following command. You can see the details and version. Okay. Then after that, now the next step is the fourth step. Create IAM user and configure IAM user using AWS CLI. So before configuring IAM user using AWS CLI, we need to install AWS CLI first. Okay, we need to install AWS CLI. So how to install? So there is a commands. So I'm going to download this using curl commands first of all. It's done. If I run the ls command, as you can see the zip file. So I'm going to unzip this file using the command. So if I run this command, there is a warning before because we don't have unzip package. So first of all, we need to download the unzip package using following command. Okay, it's done. Now we can unzip our AWS CLI. Okay, it's done. I'm going to clear my screen. And after that, let's install AWS CLI using the command sudo AWS install. Okay, it's done. If you want to check the version of AWS CLI, then you can run the following command to check the details. You can see the AWS CLI version and so on. So it's done. So we have successfully installed AWS CLI also. Now the next is let's configure AWS CLI. We have configured AWS CLI, sorry, AWS using following command. So let's configure AWS. So before configuring, so here in this command, we need the AWS access key ID as well as AWS secret access key ID. So how to create? So let me show you first of all. So go to your AWS account, go to your profile, go to the security credentials. And let's scroll down and you can see access key ID. Okay, so this create access key ID, this button is my button is disabled because now in current I have two access key IDs. So first of all, you need to deactivate your access key ID, after that delete, and then this button will be enabled. Okay, so simply click on this create access key ID and then choose your option. That means why you are going to create your access key ID, then choose your option and after that download the file. Okay, so it's simple. Okay, now let's configure the AWS. So the command is AWS configure. Now it will ask AWS access key ID. So here's my access key ID. Then secret access key ID. Now default region. So my region is AP South 1. And output format, I'm going to skip it. Okay, it's done. We have successfully configured it. Okay, then next is now it will ask, okay, it's done. Okay, now the next step is using Boto 3 with AWS S3. Okay, so to use Boto 3, so you must first import it and indicate which service or services you are going to use. Okay, so we can create here bus S3 bucket and upload a file, then download a file and also read file from S3 bucket. Okay, so how? So first of all here, we can create a S3 bucket. Okay, so create index.html in this /opt directory. Okay, so first of all, we need to insert this opt directory. Sorry, cd and then directory. Now let's clear screen. Okay, and then after that here, let's create the index.html page. Sorry, file. And in this file, I'm going to add this data here. Let's save the file and exit. Okay. Then after that, let's create the sudo nano AWS S3 file. Okay. Let's create this file. And in this file, I'm going to add this data. Okay. So as you can see here, first of all, here S3, Boto3 client. Okay. So then region, my region is AP South 1 by default. You can see if your region is different, then you can change it. After that, bucket response, S3 bucket, the bucket name. Okay. So here I'm going to change by bucket name because the bucket name must be unique. Okay. My DevOps in bucket, maybe it's already exists. So that's why here I'm going to enter a date because your bucket name must be unique. So I'm going to enter a date. Then after that, the next is here, bucket name. So here also I'm going to enter a date. Okay. Then after that, the file path is /opt and we are going to upload this file index.html. Okay. Then print S3 bucket and bucket name is created successfully. Okay. Then retrieve and display the content of index.html. So S3 get object bucket name. Okay. Then file name and print S3 bucket name and created successfully in region. Okay. That means after when we create this file, then in this index.html, the data will display. Okay, so let's see. So let's check for once it's done. Let's save the file and exit. Okay. Now, the next is executing the Python code. So we need to run this command to executing the code. Sorry, I'm in this /opt directory. So that's why in this directory, there is no any file. So I'm going to exit and now let's run this command. Sorry, s3.py. Okay, just a second. Here, we need to create s3 dot with extension py, right? So here I'm going to create s3.py, right? So I'm going to copy and paste here, and let's rename our bucket names. My bucket name will be 0708 2024. Same for here, 0708 2024. Okay, let's save the file and exit. Now, if I run the ls command, there is a file aws s3.py. Now, let's execute using Python 3 and our file name. And as you can see, S3 bucket my DevOps scene created successfully in region AP South 1, successfully AP South 1, and the content of index.html is here. And as you can see here, the file, right? Reading content from file using Boto3, the title is Boto3, you can see the same, right? That's the reading content. Okay, now let's check in our bucket, it's created or not. So let's refresh the page. As you can see, my DevOps in bucket 07082004. 24. And if I inside this, as you can see, index.html, the type is HTML page, last modify, and the time and size and storage class standard. That means in this session, first of all, we have create our bucket, and in bucket, we have successfully pushed this index.html file. And after that, we have successfully read this index.html file here. Okay, so it's done, right? So in this session, we have learned how to read file content from S3 bucket using Boto 3. So thank you for watching, and I hope you understand.